Good afternoon. So we'll continue our class online for the main time. I I think that we can both make use of this opportunity. So while I'm away, um, we will run in online class. When I'm back, we'll run on face-to-face class. And I think that is better so that we can both save time and then achieve, the goal of making you a full stack web developer. I think that's nice. Okay. A quick recap. I would prefer that I do a quick recap. I know that we have looked through some things. We have talked about HTML. We looked at the heading tag. We have looked at the list tag. We have looked at the break tag. The heading tag is H1 to H6, and we have looked at the list tag is the on list and the ordered list and the unordered list, which is the UL and the LI. I'm sure that you have those things. Now, then I know before I traveled, I dabbled into Bootstrap for you, and it kind of looked confusing to you, but I will go over it again. Maybe I was too fast and everything looked confusing, but don't worry, my job is to make you understand, and you will sure understand. But today I want us to look at HTML forms. So HTML forms has to do with how data are collected. So I'm sure you have your brand website, and they will say log into your account, and then when they say log into your account, they expect you to put your maybe email and password, or username and password, or telephone and password, or whatever login credentials that is required. Now I'm also sure that you know that okay, take for example the JAMB website, or during GCE when students are supposed to register. Do you understand? Or maybe you are registering for your course, or something. They will say, put your first name, your last name, your middle name, your address, your phone number, your email address. You should select whether you are a male or a female. Do you get? Sometimes they may, or you are browsing a particular, let's say maybe a restaurant online, and they want you to pick a recipe. Maybe you ordered for rice. They will say, okay, select whether you want it with dodo, or you want it with salad, or you want it with moi moi. You see, all those things are HTML forms. So we use forms generally, the word form. So when you say, I want to go and buy a form, what does it mean? It means that you want to collect a paper in which you are going to put an information. Are you getting it now? So, and that is what HTML forms is about. So HTML forms helps you to collect data from your website, and I am going to do that for you. Yeah, so let me try and save this one. I will come to save as. Okay, I'm actually using I'm using a I've already created this, but don't worry. What I'll do is I'll say in my local server. So this is where I want to put it. So maybe I'll call this Imati. You remember I've told you how to do such things. So, and then okay, let me cancel. I can come here and say new folder. I already created it. So this is your website, and I'm selecting. So now don't forget that I already told you that each of your resources must be in new folder, and this one will be CSS. Okay, sorry. Let me come here. So I will come to where I created that IMA folder. Of course, you know where you are here. This is it. And so I say, when I click it, I'll say new folder, CSS. I'll create another one, I'll call it JS. I'll create another one, I'll call it images. I can create another one and call it maybe video, you know, or media. I prefer to call it okay, video. And then I can create another folder and call it music. Sure, guys. So of course you're already familiar with all of this. It's not new to you. So I will come back to my Sublime text, and you can see that all those resources folders are already there. So this is Imati, which is where I will continue with my training. Now I can press Ctrl N for new file, you can see, and then I will say Ctrl S to save it. I will save it in, don't forget, it has to be in the folder of your website, so you can see Imati. So, and then I want to call this one let's say HTML Forms .html. I'm sure you are familiar with this. I'm not doing anything new, and this is what I have done before, and you can see now that everything is okay. It's showing HYML. No, I wanted to write HTML, so you right click that, and here I will put T and then enter. So you can see, so it's already corrected, and then I will put my HTML tag, you get, and then I have this. You're already familiar with this. So my page title can be HTML Forms, correct? And this is what we have in our HTML forms. Now, the first one I will teach you is HTML. Okay, now I'm trying to do. Okay, so I'll call this one HTML Forms. I want to title it. Maybe I should use H1 so that it will be very bold. And then, so I can put an horizontal line. I already taught you what an horizontal line is before. And then here I'm going to say H4. So here, the first one is the text input. Now, the text input is written as input. You can see it has already auto suggest for me, so I can just tab it. You see, immediately I tapped, you know, it showed me input type and the name. So in the type, since it's a text input, I will say text. Now don't bother about the name, and then let us save. Now I have saved it by pressing Ctrl S, and then let me open in browser so that you can see what we have. You can see this is a text input. So this is normally where users or people who come to your website can type in anything, whether text, whether text or numbers or special characters, or do you get? So the text input can take anything. Now, but I want us to make it a bit more professional. So now, just before my input tag, don't forget this is my input tag. Now before it, let's put a label. So I will say, I'll open my square brace and say label, and then of course you can let it auto-complete for you. So we can call this one, let's say, first name, and then you save. I press Ctrl S. Anytime I say save, just know that I press Ctrl S. If I refresh this, you see what I have. It's telling me. So this means that I'm saying that users can put their first name here. My first name is Benga. You can see. Now, let's assume that we want them to, so let me put some space so that, let's assume that we want them to put their first name and their last name. I can just copy this. I have copied by pressing Ctrl C, and then I put Ctrl V. So here I will just say last name. It's the same thing. Here you see. And then if I save and I come to my browser and I do, you see what we have. Now you can see what is showing us is an inline, which means that you can actually have it side by side like this. But if you don't want to have it side by side, it's very simple. I have taught you the break tag, BR. So I have put the break tag in between my first name and my last name. You can see I'm putting space so that you will understand the code very well. If I save and I come to my browser and I refresh, you can see it has come to another line. Now if you want it to have more space, you can just do, there are two ways to do it. Is that you say you put another break. Let's just save. I have saved, and then if you refresh, you can see you will have it in another sorry, there's space in between them now, as you can see. Now, but I'm removing the second brace, and I want to save it so that it can gum together, because I actually want you to see different ways in which you can work with your code. So see the way it is. Assuming I want space in between, I can actually use style, a CSS style, by saying style. I have taught you inline CSS, so I will say margin bottom. Let me just pick it. You can see margin bottom. So let's assume I want to put a 16px. Now of course you are a designer, so you know how large or how small a 16px would be. So which means I am trying to say that between the first name input and the last name input, there should be 16px space. So now if I come here and I refresh, you can see. So you can, so I have showed you two ways now. So you can actually double this by you can put another BR, or just use a CSS. So if I want it this way, sure you get now. So let's say we want them to have we want them to give us their email address. Do you get? We put it. Do you get? Now our text can be our input type can be text, or we can put email, because email is also a standard input type. Now, but I will suggest that you put what's it called? You put input type for email as email. You get, and then we save. If you check our code again, you see what we have. Now, you can actually make all this bigger. You can make this input type bigger by just saying in the style, you say text size. Okay, not size. You could say not text, sorry. You will say font size. You see, I'm picking font size as let's say 20 px, and then okay, I should also put this here so that everything is uniform, and then I can save. I press Ctrl S to save. If I refresh, you see a difference. You can see now that it's bigger. So, and then you know, I have taught you all these ones before. The bold tag by saying just B, and then you must also put it here too, and the after the label, so you can see my bold is in between. My bold is my label texts are inside the bold tag. I just wanted it to be bolding so that you can see. I think it makes more sense. Something else you can do is to probably put a colon. So that users can know. So you can see if I refresh, our colon is showing. Now this is, so here users can now put there. You can see the text showing more, is showing brighter. Okay, let me give you, I have this as my email. Okay, better I can say being a 6 consulting.com. See, so, and you know, and so on and so forth. Now I quickly want us to also look at, you know, some other input types, because actually there are many, but I'll give you the 6 common ones that we have. So now, okay, there's something else I want you to also pay attention to, which is the placeholder. So I'm sure that you must have seen something like this before, where you know, you want to fill a form online, and maybe inside the text, before you place your cursor, you will see something like enter your first name. Here they will say enter your last name. Here they will say enter your email. Now, how is that done during code? It is very easy. Now, please let me do all the three at the same time so that we can save time. I already told you how you can do all this. So here you will say placeholder. As you can see, it has given me. And inside it, I will say enter your. Now, we say name. Now, don't mind me. I'm trying to. So here we will say first name. Here we will say last name. And here it is not name, it is email. You can see. So our placeholder, we put enter your first name in the first field, enter your last name in the second field, as you have seen. You can see. Now, if I save by pressing Ctrl S and I refresh my browser, you can see what you have. So it's saying, and so this actually, it makes your web form looks more interesting, so that people who are viewing your website can see it as something very interactive. So now, but if I place my cursor here and I type and I try to type something, it will go. So you see. So this one too, if I try to type something, it will go. And this one too, if I try to type something, it will go. So you see. So that is the work of the placeholders. Now, so I have taught you so far. I have taught you two input forms, which is the text input. And okay, let me put okay, maybe I shouldn't put this. Okay, this text input. I can put this as I'll put this one as email input, so that I can sectionalize everything for you. I hope you are following. And then here, let me put an horizontal line. So you get, so that when you are looking at it through the browser, so you can see. So the first one is the input. So the second one is what? The email input. Now, the third one I want to talk about is the radio. So now, for the radio, don't forget we're going to put a break, and then we're going to put an horizontal line, and then we will say we're going to put an H4 to show what to show you that this is another radio input. Now, the radio input is actually used to show, for users to be able to pick one out of many options. So, for example, I'm sure if you want to open a Gmail, a new Gmail, or a new Yahoo mail, or you want to open a Facebook, or you want to open Instagram, they will ask you for your gender. They want to know whether you are a male or a female. Are you following me? And this is where this one comes in, and that is where the radio. So it's the same thing when we say input. Now, but in the type, we are going to put radio. We are going to put radio. And then, now, there's a little difference in radio, which is we will put an ID. So in the ID, we call it say say what do I want to call it now? We call it mail. And then it must also have value, and our value also will be mail. Then now you know that we have in Africa, don't mind those Oyinbos who are trying to do stupid things by saying people must be transgender. I only know two gender, which is male and female. So this will be radio, and then our ID will be female, and our value will be female as well. Okay. Now don't forget that we should have our label. Our label is what? Sex or gender, anyone that you prefer. I know that American call it sex, European call it gender. So, but either way, means the same thing. So if we refresh and come to our browser, you see what we have. Now you can see now that it's showing us the gender, but it didn't show us what these radios are for. That's because after the input, we are supposed to put label. So since I'm going to do almost the same thing for the tool input, I'm going to enter and say label. So in this label, I'm going to put male, and in this label I'm going to put female. Is that understood? And then I will save. You can see now. I already showed you how you can do this. You can actually apply style. We will not need a placeholder in radio. We don't use placeholder in radio. So this is style. Let me space it here. So we don't use placeholders in radio input. So I'm going to remove it. So so this is what we have. Now of course we will not need margin bottom here, so I'm going to remove it. And then here also I will not need margin bottom here. I'm going to remove it. So what is left here is the font size. Now of course our gender, we can bolden it by putting B, and then we close it at the end of R. Now let's see what we have. If you can see, so it looks more, like what we want. So this is radio. So if I pick this, I cannot pick male and female at the same time. Okay, now it is kind of giving me, it's kind of making me choose the two, and that is because of something I should have done at the beginning. So which I will do now. So look at it. In our input, our input starts from here, from line 12. But let me take it from let me take it from line 12, since that's where our input form started from. So here I'm supposed to open a form tag, FOM, and then but I will close it. I cannot put it there. I have to close it. I will cut it. I've removed it from there. I've removed the closing form. I will put the closing form after the last input. So what that means is that our browser will recognize every input we put in between. So, and then I'm going to save. Now I believe I should refresh so that you can have. So now our input is still showing that we can pick the 2, but we cannot pick the 2 at the same time. We are not supposed to pick the 2 at the same time. So what are we going to do? We come back to our code. So here in the name, I know I have not been teaching you, I've not been putting names there, but okay, so I can start. So the name of your input is what you want it to be, whatever you want. So for example, in the first name input. So if I want, I can say F name, or I can say first name, or I can call it anything. The only thing is that whatever name you are going to put in between the name value, there must not be spaces, and it must not have special characters. Do you get? So here I can call it L name, and this one I can call it EML. Do you get? So you are at liberty to call it any name you want to call it, as far as there is no space in between 2 words and there are no special characters. The only special character that is allowed is underscore. So in this one, the name of this one, I can call it maybe sex. Now whatever name I put for the first one, since it's a radio, it will be for the second one as well. So it will be like this. So I cannot call this one sex and call this one sex1 or sex1 sex2. No, the name must be the same. It's only ID and values that can be different, but the name in your radio must be the same. If I save and I refresh my browser, I can only pick 1, as you can see. Do you understand? Are you sure? Now, okay, so we proceed. I believe you are following this, very well. So, and in the next one, I can put a break tag, and after the break tag, I can put an horizontal line. And the next tag I want to talk about is the checkbox. And so I'm going to say H4 and say check boxes input. Check CH, not CJ. Sorry for that typo. Okay, so in the checkbox actually allows us to pick more than one selection. So for example, if you are buying food on a restaurant website and you pick jollof rice, you may want to add dodo with plantain, or dodo with salad, or chicken with coleslaw. So that, to be able to do that, you will need to put check boxes. And so in check boxes you are going to say input. Don't forget we are dealing with input. So and then here you are going to write checkbox, not check boxes. The input type will be checkbox, and then the ID. So since I'm using food, I like food, so I'll call this one Dodo. And then the name will be menu. And then our value will be Dodo. Are you getting me? And then of course we are going to put a label. We're going to put a label, and the label will be Dodo. Don't forget that. Then so here I can copy this and just change it. So it is still, sorry, it is checkbox, not checkbox C. So input type checkbox, but this time this will be salad, and this will be salad. You can see I did not change my name, my input name, because the input name will not change. And then I can copy this also and put moi moi, because I actually want us to have more than one. So here it can be moi moi, and then this one becomes moi moi, and then our label will be moi moi. Are you following what we are doing? So this is how checkboxes are done. So now if you want to have 10 options, this is what just you have to do. So you change the ID, you change the value and put in label, but the name will be the same. Are you following me? So okay, sorry, sorry, I made a mistake. So in checkbox input, the name will be different. So if this is menu 1, we call this one menu 2. Let's call this menu 1. Let's call this menu 2, and this becomes menu 3. But in radio, the name is the same. In checkbox, names will be different. And so I can refresh my browser, and I have this. So here I can put a label by saying choose menu. Let's make it interactive. Choose menu. Now you know that I'm going to put a bold tag here, and at the end of menu I'm going to close the bold. So, and I save, and then if I come here, so you can see, so users can actually pick Dodo and Memo, or they say no, I want Dodo and salad, or they say no, I want salad and Memo. So far we have looked at 4 inputs, HTML input. Now let me pause and then